Hello, it's Tammy Dunnett here, and today we're talking about workplace toxic behaviors or toxic workplace behaviors and how to identify them and how to manage them or not manage them. Give you some tips and tools. So if you're just popping in, I know I'm just popping in, so you might just be popping in. Go ahead and say hello in the comments. Let me know you're here. If you have any questions, definitely put them in there. I'm going to ask a poll here as well. And today we're talking about there's no room in the workplace for your opinion. So it's like an Ellen question, have you ever felt like your opinions were unsolicited or dismissed in the workplace? Okay, check my spelling here. Unsolicited. And of course, it's going to be a yes, no option. So as you're kind of getting in here, I'm just getting that set up. Oh, I want to publish the poll. Okay. So we're talking today about toxic workplace behaviors and when you feel like there's no room for your opinion. Now, for sure, there are times when your opinion just doesn't matter. Let's be honest. There are decisions that are made that don't include you or don't need to include you because there are bigger factors involved than that you would be able to influence. We get that sometimes that happens. But in terms of the workplace behaviors, first of all, let's just talk what is an opinion and where do we go wrong with opinions? An opinion, simply stated, is a belief or a value statement or a judgment or a view about something's worth. And so that could be, it's definitely not always based on fact. It could be based in experience, but we can't definitively usually say that this is the right way, the only way. And as an example, there's many people out there in the medical world or the non-medical world who will share that vaccines cause autism, despite the fact that it's been medically proven not to, and that the one study that seems to be the highlight of this whole controversy has already been debunked or demythed or proven as invalid. There's still a great percentage of people who have this belief that vaccines cause autism. I can't say that they're wrong because that's their belief, but I can provide evidence and education that shows them something different than what they know to be true. So the thing with an opinion is there's always a bit of subjectivity and uncertainty with it. And that's what makes them difficult. So like things about what kind of office furniture would look great in here, or what food should we serve at the meeting, all the way up to the views of how others act or don't act. I recall working in a place where somebody was offended at how another person dressed and was making judgments about, they have all these medical conditions. How is it possible they could dress like this? It was referring to back and high heels. But those are judgments and opinions. We don't live in that person's body. So not a lot of fact-based elements in an opinion. In the workplace, there are some times when your opinion is sought. And that's usually a sign of respect in which they do value what you have to say, but it is not a guarantee that people implement. Now, this happens in my marriage all the time. My husband, I will go to him for advice. I will ask his opinion. I will weigh it against what I know, what I think, what I want, and then I will implement usually my original plan of action. And it drives him crazy. But he interprets that as a lack of respect for his ideas, his experience, his knowledge. And instead, what it really is I'm listening to other people to get their knowledge and experience from them, what worked for them, the context, and weighing it against what I want. So in some cases, seeking out your opinion is about identifying blind spots that maybe we hadn't considered or others had considered. It can help to validate your own choice of action and plan. And it can illuminate maybe some clarity in thinking and processes that you hadn't considered. So there are some benefits to asking others for their opinion, but it's not a commitment. Now that's not what we're talking about in the workplace. So what we're seeing in the workplace that can cause conflict are things like maybe you're always asked for your opinion, but only to find out it was done after the fact that a judgment or a decision was already made. So it comes across as if they're just trying to check the box of consultation as opposed to actively involve you and actively really hear your story. That causes a lot of conflict because why did you even come and waste my time, right? Perhaps you're always being asked for your opinion and that there's never any lack of implementation. That can cause some frustrations. Or you're trying to provide feedback on changes that were implemented, and your opinions are just like, it doesn't matter, it's not going to change anything, just carry on. That stonewalling can cause some conflict too. So in my own experience in education and nursing, there have been a few times. I'll just share a couple here. For example, there was, well, 2 examples of students I failed. The first one, I saw her cheating on an exam. I had her exam booklet with the evidence. I failed her in the class, and then the program decided to give her a passing mark. That was a tough one. That one made me feel like my opinion and my professional judgment didn't matter. I had failed another student in a practical exam and was on my way to go and meet this student. We had a process where we could meet with them to go over what we saw in their exam and give them some tips and help them to be successful in their second attempt. And I kept getting messages that I wasn't needed there, I wasn't needed there. And I thought, well, this is crazy. Like, of course I want to be there. I want to help my student. And that was when I was told that another instructor had marked my notes and had passed the student, and that they didn't have to do a second attempt. And I was so insulted because, again, I witnessed the student. I wrote down the notes that I thought were sufficient. I actually had marked it with another instructor to make sure. And I was overridden by somebody else. So those are pretty significant values that were trampled on because somebody else's opinion, they didn't think to ask my opinion and consult me back in there. I've also been told things like, everyone is to teach like me, which totally avoids any of your own uniqueness. It kind of sounds very directive and micromanagement, and as if everything you do is going to be changed because everyone needs to be like me, which is ridiculous. And there certainly have been others. Now, in terms of how you express your opinion in the workplace, there are certainly, some considerations that we take. If you feel like you're unable to express your opinion at all in the workplace, it's going to impact how well you can perform, and you're never going to reach your potential because there's always this kind of hesitancy to either speak or do something that would be unpopular. But holding back an opinion can be just as dangerous as maybe sharing one, because if you don't share your opinions, we maybe are preventing the illumination of blind spots. We're preventing that maximum creativity a team can have in the success. And we might actually be stalling the progress of a project. On the other side, if you share, you start to feel vulnerable that maybe you're at risk of being excluded, or worse, losing your job. And I have to be real, that does happen. So how do we balance this out when we're in a workplace where we don't feel like our opinions matter? There's just no room for it. I have a few questions you can ask yourself. First, I would suggest that you ask, can you accept a top-down approach? For some people, that's fine. If you can give away that power and you can just say, you know what, I'm hired to do this job, and I'll do it in the parameters in which they tell me, and I'm okay with that. Then maybe you would stop feeling as if your opinion doesn't matter because you recognize this is a top-down culture, this is where I fit in, I think I can adapt to that, no problem. For some people, that gets rid of any ownership of failure, right? So if they don't ask me and it fails, it's not my fault. That's somebody else's problem. Another question you can ask is, can you find some sort of benefit in the process, in the policy, in the new rules that would benefit you or help you, or that you can agree with? I can definitely agree with students being given a second chance and given an opportunity to showcase what they already know. I could not agree with blatantly passing someone who failed. That was a value set for me, and I'd seen some other staff members leave for things like this too. So eventually I did leave that organization. Here's another question is, can you produce quality work within the environment that you are currently in? If you're going home every day feeling like you are just not able to reach your potential, this may be a sign that you're in a toxic workplace and it's time to change. And my last question is a bigger concern is, can you maintain your mental health in this environment? And I'd shared that I was feeling that these trespasses against my values were so strong because not only are these students who are failing, but the profession in which they're going into will have an impact, a much broader impact that I thought was kind of narrowly viewed among the staff. So that became an issue for me, and I was able to continue working for a short period of time knowing that I did my due diligence, I did my job, and I followed the processes, and I failed the correct students. I didn't have any power over the others, so my only power then is, do I stay or do I go? Sometimes that's the question you have to ask. being able to sleep at night, maintaining your mental health, working with and leaning into your values are all important pieces in terms of working in a non-toxic environment. So if you are feeling like you're in a place where it's consistently not sought after, or it's consistently, that's never going to happen, I don't even know why you said that, that's going to erode away your performance and your desire to lean into the values of the organization. So it may just be best to leave. If you'd like some more information on the toxic workplaces, head on over and join the Facebook group. It's free. There's more resources. There's quizzes. There's content. There's so much in there, and it gets added to every day. I'm trying to give you the resources that you can use to help navigate those workplace issues and to create a better place for you. Until next time, make it a great day.